Hej og velkommen til Dansk Krypto Nyt. Det er i dag fredag den 19. marts, og lige præcis en uge siden, at jeg begyndte at sende de her kryptonyheder på dansk. Jeg synes selv, det er gået fantastisk. Der er mere end 15 subscribers nu, og en af mine videoer er blevet set af mere end 50 personer. Så jeg vil i næste uge simpelthen smide en ordentlig omgang ud igen, og så se, om vi vokser derfra. Men i dag har vi også et rigtig interessant program, fordi jeg får besøg af Bitcoin-hodleren Alex fra Tyskland, som vil forklare os, hvorfor han holder fast på sine bitcoins, og hvordan han egentlig ser bitcoins udvikling i fremtiden. Super spændende, men i første omgang, så skal vi lige se, hvordan kurserne har det. Der er simpelthen ikke sket det helt vilde. Bitcoin ligger cirka på den kurs, hvor vi forlod den i går. Men kigger man nedad, jamen så er det faktisk kun Cardano, der lige har et ordentligt dyk. Ellers så er det sådan en stille, fredelig dag på kryptomarkedet. Der sker ikke det helt vilde, men så er det jo godt, at vi her i studiet får besøg af Alex, som er Bitcoin-hodler. Og her ser I ham, og det vil jeg lige spørge ham om, hvad er det for noget, der er gang i? So, hi Alex, and welcome to this channel here for Danish Crypto News. And you were the one who really introduced me to this one. The orange pill, and since you told me that there was this whole crypto world, I realized a lot of new things. And one of the things you told me was that when you have Bitcoin, you don't even think about selling it. You are holding on to it, or you call it hodling. Can you explain to me how come you don't want to sell your Bitcoins?
Yeah, hodling is an abbreviation of hold on for dear life. And the reason is because the fluctuations in Bitcoin are extremely strong, because if you look at the price action of Bitcoin, it is so fast and so volatile that we can't plot it on a linear chart. Like you have 10, 20, 30, this is not how it works. You have like $100, 1,000, 10,000, that's a logarithmic chart. And only on that chart, you actually see how it's going. So people are emotional about investing. And unfortunately, the truth of the matter is, if you do not understand the asset class you're investing in, be it stocks, bonds, ETFs, foreign exchanges, or Bitcoin, any kind of cryptocurrencies, or precious metals, if you do not understand the asset class you're investing in, I guarantee you'll be ripped off. And the same is true with cryptocurrencies, especially with Bitcoin. And in order to protect your wealth, the only real proven strategy is to, as you said, hold on, just hold on to it. Do not sell it unless you're in a total emergency and you need the cash. And the second strategy is called DCA, dollar cost average, or in our case, you and me were located in Europe, we would maybe call it Euro cost average. But the point of the matter is, every month, every week, what you do is you take a small amount of the money that you would like to invest into that bank account in cyberspace, and you just put it in, and you don't bother too much about the fluctuations, of course. And that is the most important message. And a couple of years ago when I introduced people to it, I said, put the money you can afford to lose in it. But to be honest, I started off 2010 as a small-time investor into precious metals, and I just bought the top like a new beginner, and I just steadily lost money. I put in a large chunk of silver after the Corona dump, and I made some money on that. But by November of last year, the final decision came to rotate everything in precious metal into Bitcoin. So I'm 100% long Bitcoin. And I never regretted that. It was one of the best decisions. And the funny thing is, the last couple of years, whenever I was using a chunk of money that I had made from my career as a video editor, I put it into Bitcoin. I could always buy a couple of Bitcoin, but this year is the first year where I'm transferring a good chunk of money, and I want to buy, and I'm only getting like 0 point something, and I'm like, oh, okay. I mean, I was aware of that because I know the numbers, but when you actually do it and you actually see it, how the price is rising, it's driving people crazy. And I think it's that volatility that scares people. And this is why we say hodl.
Okay,
It's a good thing, but I noticed that since December, the price of Bitcoin has gone up tremendously, or maybe doubling or something like that, more than doubling. So is there a limit for the price of Bitcoin, or what do you think? What's the thoughts about that?
Okay, to answer your question, how high can it go? Unfortunately, the answer was given by a lot of other people, so I have to regurgitate the answer. And the answer is very simple. Bitcoin has no top because fiat has no bottom. There is no limit to the money they can print. So maybe in the next 5 years, Bitcoin can 10x, which is 1,000%, without actually appreciating in value. What you're really seeing is a hyperinflationary collapse of all fiat currencies against Bitcoin. You know, like 2010, $1 was maybe, I don't know, 100 Bitcoin or 10 Bitcoin or 5. And today you need 1 kilogram of gold to buy 1 Bitcoin. People are going, I mean, you got to think about this, is insane. And so the, like 1 or 2 years ago, if you had said, okay, PayPal is going to come in, we're going to have big hedge funds come in, we're going to have banks come in. News just broke yesterday. JP Morgan is allowing like their wealthy clients, I believe it was over 2 million for each client, to allocate, I don't know, 3.75 or 5 or 7% into Bitcoin. So, you know, and then of course, MicroStrategy. And this guy is a technologist. And the thing that makes me really positive about Bitcoin is when you look at the people, when you look at the proponents, Bitcoin doesn't have advertisement on TV. It doesn't have propaganda. It just is what it is. And it has proponents. And I can't believe it, but you know, it looks like I was drawn emotionally or spiritually or whatever to an asset class which would make me rich, and which will, I believe, will make everybody rich. And I believe that even people who are not invested into Bitcoin will become rich in the distant future, because the Bitcoin standard is going to make society aware of the fraudulent fiscal system that we have. Because right now, in precious metals, we know for a fact, it's not a conspiracy theory, we know for a fact that banks like JP Morgan, they're actively manipulating the price of silver and gold down by naked shorts. That is, they're betting against the market with cheap money that they don't own. It's absolutely ridiculous to an extent most people can't even imagine. And for some reasons, I gotta confess, I don't fully understand, but for some reasons, they cannot do the same thing with Bitcoin. So as they push metals downward, they have to do that in order for people not to wake up to the scam. For example, we had the bonds and the stocks, they were appreciating in value despite the fact that we had a corona crisis. What really happened is that the stocks only represent the expansion of the monetary base. So they just represent the money printing. People don't realize that, but there is going to come a moment, maybe in a second corona dump, where the shares are going to go down. And this time, Bitcoin is not going to go down. It's maybe just going to cough or something. And this is going to be the shot heard around the world. And I think that what is going to cause the real FOMO, that's an aberration for fear of missing out, is when the hedge funds realize that their assets are going down. And I mean, they're only producing 2, 4, and 6% per year of, API, interest, which is less than the cost of capital. I mean, we have 10, 15, 20% inflation. We had 20% of all dollars last year created in the US. Once people realize that, once the fund managers realize they have to have something that will save them and give them the potential to actually just not lose money, then they are going to stampede into Bitcoin. And, the generation of our parents, most of them don't get it. And to be honest, they will never get it. What they will get is the price action. And within May or June, the news are going to break. We're going to have a 100,000 US dollar Bitcoin. And then people are going to go like, hey, how did that happen? And then people are going to learn about scarcity, and they're going to educate themselves. They're going to go down that rabbit hole, and they're going to understand just how fraudulent the current system is. And while they're screaming, oh, Bitcoin is going to zero, Bitcoin is going to zero, this is a speculation that has no bias. And, the trend is your friend, so it's probably only going to go upward. What nobody is talking about is the fact that all fiat currencies in the last 300 years have either gone to zero or near zero by losing 98 or, even the dollar lost 99.5% of its value. So while they are screaming Bitcoin is going to zero, they're just not covering the fact that all other currencies are going to zero. And the reason they don't cover that is because they want to maintain that power structure. So, Bitcoin really is a passive aggressive move against governments and states, and people deeply are invested into this. They believe the state is a good thing. And unfortunately, no matter how much rationality or intelligence or wisdom, you are not going to teach them. What is going to teach them is a collapse. And then they're going to understand that there's two sorts of people, the people that have Bitcoin and the people that want it, period.
But can you see sometime in the future that governments, the EU or US government will try to ban cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin?
Yeah, I hope they try. Because I want to see them fail. China failed doing it. India has proposed the, 100th ban, and then they're next day saying, oh, it wasn't meant that way. We have Venezuela, we have Iran. And what happened is that you can't outlaw it. You can't destroy the blockchain. It has too much processing power. If you combine all top 500 supercomputers in the world together, they only have, I think, 1% processing power. You would need 100% processing power of the blockchain to attack it. But even if you would, it would be more efficient to join the mining network and make the money, because you'll make more money in that way.
I saw you in the beginning with a normal picture, and suddenly one day you had laser eyes. What happened?
This is a really nice meme. And on Twitter, the people that put on the laser eyes, I believe it has something to do with Superman's laser eyes. And we're looking at near time price targets of 100,000 US dollar, because we all know that a year ago, when we hit like 4,000 euro, dollars, whatever, and you would say that a year from now we'd be close to 100,000, people would have said, you're a lunatic, that's impossible. And now it's really, it's come into striking distance. It's not far off. It's not 2x, it's not 4x, it's like 30%. And so I'm really pumped for this. I want to see this happen, because at this point in time, there's going to be no question that this is not a scam, and it's not a Ponzi scheme, and it's just there. And people are, giving me phone calls because they realized I was an early investor. Just before we had this call, I checked back on my email account, and I know that the first deposit confirmed was on the 16th of, oh, that's incredible. That's just 3 days ago, and then 4 years ago, the 16th of March 2017 at 11:17, I got the confirmation from, I think it was Bitstamp, that my first deposit of 5,000 euro arrived. But back then, Max Kaiser, the famous influencer, he likes to say that actually now at 40, 50, 60,000, Bitcoin is a much safer bet than it was back then. So don't be disheartened that you are coming in late. You are already way ahead of the huge wave. If I advise people right now, I say it's a bit difficult to get in, because we're right into a hyperbolic market. So if I was going to go in, I would be going in 50% or 60% with all I got, and then dollar cost average in a little bit, but leave some dry powder for the huge corrections and then buy back.
Okay, great. Yeah, it's exciting times, and we just look forward to see what happens.
Well, thank you very much for having me on the show, Jasper, and it's always a pleasure to talk to you, and I'm happy that I got you orange pilled. And I hope it's going to mean a lot of prosperity for you, your family, and your viewers. So thanks for having me on. And yeah, feel free to come back anytime.
All right, thanks. I hope I'll get back another time. Yeah, bye.
Ja, det var så en tur ned gennem kaninhullet sammen med Alex. Og når jeg siger ned gennem kaninhullet, så er det jo selvfølgelig fra Alice i Wonderland, hvor man hopper ned i et kaninhul, og der findes en helt anden verden nedenunder, som hvis man ikke har taget den orange pille, ja, så kan man ikke forstå, hvad det er, der sker. Så synes man, det hele det er svindel, et pyramidespil. Men har man taget den orange pille, og måske set, jamen her er en verden, som tilbyder en ny løsning, eller mange nye løsninger, så kan man se logikken i det. Og ellers så må du rigtig gerne trykke like. Hvis du ikke allerede har trykket abonner, så gør meget gerne det. Og så må du have en fantastisk weekend, for det har jeg tænkt mig. Og så ses vi på mandag. Hej!